You hear that dad, you come second. He's basically saying he doesn't care if you die.
Because that's what was supposed to happen. You were supposed to come second, mom first.
Oh shit. That'll teach you.
That'll teach you.
That was fucking golden, bro. Okay guys, welcome back to the Weekly Order. Today we're actually joined by DJ Sabby, and I'm telling you now, they brought the noise. I'm telling you now, we are more excited for this than I think we can even express. I mean, you guys came with the fucking entourage, bro. That was dope as shit, bro.
And it's like a small entourage.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a party. It's gonna be a party.
It's definitely gonna be a party. I'm super excited for it. I see you even brought some Valentine's for us, so we're all having a drink, having a good time.
Yeah.
Let's just start out to let everyone know who you are, what you're about. Where do you... Tell us your story.
Ready.
I feel like I'm about to introduce myself to a father-in-law.
Yeah.
I'm a radio DJ more than anything else. So I do a drive time show on YFM, 3 to 7 o'clock. The only drive show that matters on radio.
Oh, yes.
And then I do a whole lot of other things on the side. I always say I do everything besides medicine. So, you know, just ask me like if I can do it, I'll tell you yes or no. But I'm a TV personality. I also curate content for YouTube. I'm more of a content creative, you know, make music. I'm a DJ, I'm an MC. I play more in the creative space more than anything else. So that's my 9 to 5, but radio's in the center of everything else.
That's amazing, man. And so I see you doing like producing as well.
Yeah.
Can you give us like a little bit of a breakdown on each thing that you do? So with the radio stations and with basically the TV presenting, which one are you hustling more on? Or is there like one grind you're trying to focus on or not?
So radio's like the mother of everything that I do. So it's like the heart of my hustle. So I've been doing that since the age of 14. I started out in my township in KZN, Mandeni. That's what it's called.
Dude, this is interesting as hell. Yeah.
And then I came up to Johannesburg to do radio production. That went pretty well. It was, you know, I've always believed like your break might not come behind the microphone. It might be as a technical engineer, it might be whatever. So I just always knew that I would be behind the microphone one day, but I just never knew how my break would come. So that's why I decided to do radio production. So when the opportunity strikes, I'm ready for it. And in 2009, I joined the Cops nummer 1 music station. That's KFM. That was my break. That's literally the only Afrikaans I could say. The Cops nummer 1 music station.
In Afrikaans, though.
You had to balance it up, English and Afrikaans, but they were not like Jacaranda, like where you speak a lot of Afrikaans.
Sentences Afrikaans and then it's English.
Yeah, I couldn't. The music was very contemporary.
Okay.
It was pretty cool, but it was Cape Town. It was very slow. I felt like I was not ready. I was 19 in Cape Town. I could just predict my life. I'll find myself a nice white chick. You know, maybe find a nice colored chick. There were not a lot of black people around me. That's why I just knew it could be like a colored or an Indian chick. But I just could predict my life. And I don't like the idea of being able to predict my moves or predict how tomorrow would feel like. So I got a transfer, came up to Johannesburg, joined Highveld. It was a time now it's 947. And then that was like a cool experience. But at Highveld at the time, I was not getting the enough radio time I wanted to perfect my craft. And then I moved up. I had to start from the bottom. YFM was just super cool. Ever since I got to Johannesburg, Y just had this thing. I'm like, yo, everyone there is just so cool. I don't know if I'm cool enough to try it. And my girl at the time always said, like, I'm wasting my time going out to Cape Town. Like, I deserve to be in Joburg Radio, and Y specifically. So I joined the Y Academy, which is a 6-month internship program. You get a chance in the last 2 months to be on the radio. I did that. Fast forward, got traffic, got my first show. It was Graveyard. Fast forward now. Been doing a drive show for over 4 years, going for 5.
Amazing stuff, dude.
Insane, man.
To hear how young you were when you started your whole grind, that's so interesting, you know?
Yeah.
I think some people are always like, let me wait till I get to 23. I've already studied. I've already done this. I've already, you know. So to see that you were hustling from day one, I think it's pretty incredible.
So when you were 14 and stuff and you said you started with the radio, I mean, what were you doing? Because it wouldn't have been like drive time shows. It would have been like, was it graveyard shifts and all of that stuff? So
we had like 1-hour shows with the Love Live program. So we'd all come together. I remember our show was called the Hot Perries. Because we just felt like we were fire. So our show would be between 4 and 5. So straight after school, we'd jump at the bus at like 2 o'clock. We rush to the center to prep our show. We get behind the microphone at 4. So it was called narrowcasting. So narrowcasting is where you can literally see your audience. It's where you broadcast in one proximity, and the people around you, you can see your audience. You know who's listening, and that was just the narrowcasting experience. But that just, you know, instilled this love, and I felt my stomach feeling some type of way, butterflies, if I can put it like that.
You're getting excited.
I got excited. Like, also, I was a fat guy who had no, like, my self-esteem was very low. I wasn't really sure about myself, and also it was early puberty, you know, so much was going on.
Yeah, you didn't know what was going on, bro. But that's amazing, you know? To see, though, that you still carried on, bro.
Yeah,
you know?
I had to because there was just something about this microphone and the music that just, like, I could talk about my experiences and people want to listen, you know. So as a guy like who is fat, and as much as people are aware of you, but no one gives you attention to speak, it was weird that when I'm behind the microphone, people find me interesting. So it's like, oh, y'all care when I'm behind the mic? Okay, cool. So I kept it going, you know. And to this day, like, radio I've always tried to be myself, not even try, because I've realized that the more I become myself, the more people relate to me, you know, than trying to put on a facade.
Yes.
Because then you start selling something that you're not. And when people meet you, there's like a misconnection. Like, oh, but you are, who are you actually?
Yeah, they're going to obviously start realizing that you're being fake, you know?
Yeah.
And if you feel more comfortable being behind a microphone, then that's exactly where I think you need to be.
Yeah. The more you're comfortable with yourself, it's easy to try and tell anyone about anything, because you're telling them generally based on how you view it and how you feel.
It's not like with radio and stuff. I often look at it in a sense like we all listening to you on the radio. Yeah. But in the studio,
but white listeners.
There we go.
But in the studio, I mean, isn't it weird a lot of the time, because it's like you're talking to a whole bunch of people, but there's not really that many in the actual studio with you. And it's a bit of a shitty ass question.
No, but bro. It was a mind fuck. The first time they told me to do the shit at the age of 14, 2004, they said go audition. I said in Zulu, like, we are flying. You want me to go into a room, talk to myself, and what the fuck?
They're going to be like, yo, what's good? Yeah,
it just didn't make sense. I go into this room and I talk to myself, and supposedly people are listening to me. It never made sense. So I fully understand what you mean, because when you get behind the mic and you talk, it doesn't hit you immediately that there's so many people that are listening to you. That's why radio, you always got to have this mindset that there's one person listening to you. Like plural, you know, lingo just doesn't work on the medium. So just think of one person that's listening to you, but say one fucked up shit, you realize how many people are saying.
That's so true.
How good does it feel to say fucked up shit?
Because I mean, usually you have restrictions and everything on radio.
Yeah, and I say fudge a lot.
Really?
That's my crunch word. Yeah,
you have to like sometimes like bite your tongue, like you sometimes forget, or you know when you're going into or like show now that okay, you're not going to swear or you're not going to do this.
Because in your social life, I'm assuming you would swear as you talk, so it's just hard to go behind. Because I mean, I think I'd fuck it up all the time, bro.
It speaks to, like, as you were saying earlier, being yourself, and sometimes being yourself means swearing.
True.
Like to cut back on that must be quite tough sometimes.
Yeah, there's a form of restriction. So I got a new producer now on my show, Mo, and he's always trying to teach me to not swear a lot off the air. I'm like,
he's probably very disappointed with you right now.
Yeah, you know. But the thing is that if you find these crunch words, there was a point in time I had a program manager who tried to stop me from saying the word biatch. Because I see it on the radio. He's like, that's not even an actual word. I'm like, but that's the point. Like, you know, it's like how when Fresh was fired from Suner. It's like, how can you fire someone for something that's just non-existent? It's not even a word. So that's like you firing someone just because of personal motives. But that's story for another day. But you create all these words, but the audience is fully aware what you're trying to say. So every time I said, what the fudge? There's someone out there who's like, did he say fuck? You know? But you said it and you fully understand what I'm trying to say. And that's just the play, because fudge is sweet and delicious. And when you say fuck, it's just a mind fuck, you know? Fuck, I can say fuck.
Exactly. Free yourself up here.
So have you had any swearing on the air? I mean, you've been on the air for a while.
I once said fuck, and I'm so grateful to my listeners because none of them complained.
Oh, shit, bro.
I've said fuck once, I was so happy.
What are the repercussions for swearing on air? So you get like strikes or?
The BCCSA, I just had one situation with them last year. That one is so real. I don't even want to choke about it. It's too soon.
That's brilliant. So I just want to lead into basically, because I can see basically with your personality how, you know, how open you are and how fun you are.
Yeah.
Do you not think that you can maybe make that into a brand, where I'm going to try and lead this more into difference between like making your own radio station as in the form of a podcast, or starting your own brand compared to sticking under brands like YFM or High Felt or anything like that? Because I mean, from what I've just seen already, you are sort of like a Kevin Hart to me. You can build like a whole production thing of something that, okay, you've got video outlets here, you've got podcasts here, you've got, you know, I don't know if you've seen Heartbeat Productions. What they've done there, you know. But have you ever thought about ever stepping out your comfort zone and going into your own productions?
So I'm always challenging myself. So radio is mainstream media in South Africa, but there's certain restrictions that come with it. So like doing podcasts and, you know, putting up videos on YouTube. So I got what we call the Best Live TV. Okay. This is where I hang out with artists. I just did a series where I hang out with some of my favorite radio DJs and we just talk about radio as a whole. There was a 10-episode series. I had that on my site. I have hotel link-ups with some of the biggest artists and we just talk. So everything that I normally do on YouTube is always series based and always content based on, okay, cool, this is what I'm trying to get across with that, because everyone is trying to explore this podcast trend that's kind of, you know, coming up in South Africa, but everyone is just doing everything or doing what they see everyone else doing. Yeah. You know, but if you're fully aware that, okay, cool, this is what I'm going to be going for, there's some form of niche that you're curating for yourself and people are fully aware that, yo, if I go to Sabby's channel, this is what I'm going to get.
And that's what I'm looking at.
That's what I'm going to get. Like, you never find me trying to talk about sports, bro. Like, I'm not that guy. But when I check out sports, I'm normally what are they driving? Oh, those sneakers.
Not even
so
footy.
Cool. Bro, I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, so now I have to choose a team for radio purposes because my producer's trying to get me out of my comfort zone. I have to find a team to support. What is it? UEFA or La Liga? Yeah, one of those. I need to figure out.
That's the same, man. Yeah.
So apparently I need to find a team to support because locally I support Sundowns. Everyone knows that.
Okay.
But when it comes to, you know, overseas soccer, I don't really have one team.
Well, we can help you out there because Marco and I are Liverpool and Frank is Barcelona. So there's your La Liga and there's
right there,
so support Barcelona in the La Liga and then in the Premier League, obviously Liverpool, and then you sort it.
There we go.
I still need to learn which one is different to the other one. I know Barcelona's got more money.
Like these three white boys gave me teams to support.
I like that. It's just that the breakfast DJ at Y already supports Liverpool, so it'll be like, nah, we can't vote now. We're supporting Liverpool. So it'll be like, and Liverpool currently, like, don't you guys lose a lot? Like,
no.
So this season is
kind of winning
well.
You're going through a good streak.
If you said this last year, you would have touched a very sore spot.
You see,
we've had our ups and our downs, but
it's just every time I think of Liverpool, I've heard losing a lot. Like, it's not like Barcelona, Real Madrid. Like, I know those guys are like,
tough road.
So yeah, I need to find a team, man.
That's brilliant, though. And then obviously with your radio station and everything that you've been getting up to, you've had the privilege of meeting really cool people. Like, I've seen Black Coffee on your show. I've seen
AKA
Daniel Kalumba was on your show.
Yeah, Daniel just the other day, Kaluuya,
So Get Out.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Shit.
Are you like, how do you feel when you meet these people? Like, are you excited about it? Do you organize it? How does it go? And who's the best guest that you think you've ever had?
Whoa,
that's a tough one. Yeah,
a loaded question,
dude.
We haven't started again.
Shit, I've never thought about that. That's like shit.
But like in this instance, so for you coming onto our show, it's quite exciting and
for us, you know, like we obviously.
Do you get nervous? I mean, if you've got a big guest coming on.
Yo, guys, I was nervous when Black Coffee came to.
I can imagine, bro.
Yeah. I was so nervous. Like even when I was chatting to my producer, I was like, bro, like I don't know why there was this that feeling, because at the time when we had him on the show, there was this divorce thing that's happening, and there's so much to talk about, you know, in his career, you know, Ibiza and all these amazing things that he's been doing, but the market right now just wanted to know about the divorce.
Yeah, you know, you get prepped as to what you can and can't ask.
Obviously, the team will tell you. Like his team will say, "Try and avoid this. Don't talk about this." But you know, there's an elephant in the room. You know. But it was so great. Like sometimes you overthink how these people are until they come into your space and. You just have this conversation with them, and then you realize that they're just another person, normal people. Because when we were having that conversation with him, it made news. That interview we did with Black Coffee, like it was everywhere. Because we're talking about life and everything else, and then he started opening up about the marriage and all those kind of things. Because you make someone feel comfortable, you create that idea that look, we're not trying to tackle you, we're not trying to get this out of you, but once someone feels comfortable, there's somewhat of meat they're willing to share with you. And that's what happened with Black Coffee. And that's just what we always try and do when we have all these celebrities and all these well-known personalities, that as much as there's negativity around you, sometimes you have to entertain it, because then on our side, as much as we would have fulfilled our mandate of having you on the show, if we do not ask you that, then we supposedly scared or we're nervous. And then we just never gain any mileage out of it. So nobody wins out of it.
It's just the thing, like, you know, as you're saying, everyone wanted to know about the divorce. When Black Coffee is like one of South Africa's best artists, you could ask him 1,000 other questions that aren't related to it. It's because it's obviously drama gets clicks, and you know everyone always wants the clicks. Bro.
I'm sure he was probably stoked to be able to get just his point of view out on the divorce and just say, this is what's going on.
Even how he brought it up, bro. We all looked at each other in the studio like, you know, everyone was like, oh shit, okay, he's talking about it. Is there a follow-up? Oh shit, we got news top of the hour. Fuck! You know? But it was just it was an amazing moment because you always want to get someone to be comfortable more than anything else. Yeah. You know, as much as someone can be coming in studio and they're literally walking on lava every single day because everyone wants to know this one specific thing. When they get into a space and you start talking about all the great accolades they've accomplished, they start feeling like, oh yeah, I've done great. But guys, can we just talk about this? They start feeling like they have to tell you, like, if you want to tell us, you can just open up that door and we definitely have the questions ready for that.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah, Black Coffee, I was definitely nervous. The first time also I met David, there was some form of...
David is also a big artist.
Yeah, you know. When I had him now, I was a little bit comfortable because we've interacted a couple of times, but the first time he came through, that's when Fall was doing some crazy things in the US market, and he had just come down to South Africa. So there was also another interview. I felt super nervous. Who else? I wasn't nervous with Daniel because as much as Daniel Kaluuya is so big, I'm not that big on movies. So it was just
that's interesting.
So I know him very well from the films that I've seen, especially Get Out.
Yeah, you love your horror films.
Yeah, horror movies. So he's actually British, eh?
Yeah, he's British. He's so big. Everyone was nervous around him. I was like, oh yeah, you that Get Out guy, man. Like, you know, in my head, generally, like, you know, like, you that Get Out guy. You just don't learn, you know, like.
And then are there any guests that you really want to bring on? Someone that you're like, oh, I'd like to pinch this tiger or...
Yo, man, there's so many people. So when I was broadcasting from London, there was a slight opportunity of having Drake on the show.
Oh,
I swear, I was broadcasting from the BBC Morgan House.
I saw that as well. That was very interesting, bro.
Yeah, man. So for me, that was cool because he was literally in the same vicinity. What sucked is that we did it on the 1st of April. So people thought or felt like it was an April Fool's joke. So it was, the timing of everything was just not in our favor. But that was just quite cool. And that's just one of the things that I want to do more is because the London experience was great for me because it just reminded everyone around me that the more you travel and interact with all young people in different parts of the world, we're just all going through the same shit.
It's incredible to see, man. Yeah, I honestly believe the same thing. You know, you go overseas and you interact with these people and you're like, you guys are all the same as us.
Yeah.
It just looks a bit different, you know? Yeah. You're like, oh, okay, you guys obviously live in cities where your public transport works, and we obviously just live in cities where it doesn't, bro. You know, but we all have the same thoughts. We're all trying to hustle. We're all trying to grind. And when you go overseas and you realize that everyone's just doing their thing, you're actually like, this world's quite small, you know? Yeah. I think that's very interesting to see, bro.
We literally all the same, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, and also, it was so cool. The great thing about going to foreign countries, they love our accent, man. I just don't know.
It is true.
They really do. Huh?
Yeah.
You come there and like, where you from, man? Like, oh,
South Africa.
South Africa.
They're like, Africa.
I find it so weird though that they, from what I've heard, like with my accent versus a fully blown Afrikaner's accent, they can't tell the difference. They think I sound exactly the same as them.
No, it's me.
I've been mistaken for Australian before as well.
Pardon?
I've been mistaken for Australian before.
We've been mistaken for Australian by mostly Americans because, sorry guys, they're just...
I think these people are lying to you guys, but anyway. But you guys sound as South African as they come, bro.
South African as they come.
But yeah, man, just to ask also, what do you think is the future of radio? Because for me, radio is very car-based in a way, if that makes sense. And I think with cars lately, especially with the new Teslas and cars actually linking up to phones a lot more like easily, people are being like, they're more able to choose what they want to do in the car. You know, where I think back in the day it was radio stations, you can just choose that. Now people obviously, they can put their aux cords in, listen to. Do you think radio is going to still be around for the next 100 years, or do you think...
100 years it will still be around. Like I've been saying this for a while, is that for radio, obviously we have to evolve, and for PBS, which is the public radio stations, they will always have a huge chunk of the country because the lowest end of the country will always use radio as its closest source of information. So a guy who's in Tuzuma or in Nongoma, like the place where you never knew if you throw your rock it would land there.
Yeah.
Like those are the people that use
easiest accessible out of every sort of social media.
Yeah.
Sort of platform, I think.
And also you look at the numbers in South Africa, like radio has like over 90% access of the South African
people,
market. You know, in a country where there's like 56 million people living in this country, and radio is able to reach just about like over 36 million people. That is easily it's one of the biggest mediums. You look at TV, the biggest TV show is sitting on like 10 million viewers. That just goes to show, like, as much as TV has the eyeballs, radio is still the main medium to get information out there. But now when you bring it in urban spaces, especially us here and playing in Gauteng, there's so much we have to do. You know, we need the internet conversation. We need data to go down, because we need to evolve 360. When you're on the air, you got to have a live feed. You got to have a video that drops after that. You got to be on Twitter. You got to be on Facebook. So people got to feel, touch, hear you at the very same time. Because as soon as you're on your car, as much as it's not a good thing to be on your phone while you drive, if I say I got David in studio and the watch he's wearing is literally the price of an apartment in Santa, you're like, what? I want to see this watch.
You want to see what's going on?
You know, you're most likely going to get to your next traffic lights and go on your phone and check out the live feed and check out the Twitter feed.
That's so true, man.
You know, just to see, because now all your senses want to be activated and stimulated, and that's what now we need to do as as radio to this day, is that we need to find means and ways to be 360 and play in avenues that we didn't have, and that's to entertain the eyes. So that's what I generally feel like radio's future is. And I've said this to so many people, that the more radio thinks of itself as an entertainment hub, where we now need to curate so much content, because the more of these shows, the Breakfast Club, you check them out, is we know about them through YouTube. If it wasn't for YouTube, I don't think we'd care about the Breakfast Club. But because they play on the YouTube spaces, we check out the shows. You land in LA, you land in New York. Those are the first shows you check out when you land in those countries. It's because of the internet. And if you listen to some of those shows on the radio, you're like, I prefer YouTube.
That's so true.
Because they select the moments. So radio will definitely evolve, and it will still, for me, remain the most personal and most immediate way of transmitting information to everyone in South Africa. But the internet will just make everything a little bit more
accessible and nice.
But it's with, I guess, with every industry at the moment, everyone's trying to adapt with technology and stuff like that. I mean, we even with the courts now, they've gone online.
I saw that,
a fucking shit show.
I can imagine.
It is. I mean, it's a great idea, but fuck me, bro.
I think something that shocked us, which is quite naive, bro, but something that shocked us when we had Tumi Mtshali, he showed us, I think, the top 5 radio stations with the most listeners, and we didn't even know one of them, which shocked us completely, you know. And I think that's like, it sounds so stupid and typical, but it's like a white person in South Africa's like point of view. Like, we would think 5FM, Hi-Fi, YFM, Metro FM, all the ones you've heard.
Sort of just
but I think with radio, it's still reaching the greater South Africa, not just Gauteng as a whole. You know, we always think of South Africa being just your big metropolitans.
Signal fucks out on 5, and you're like, okay, there's no radio for the rest of the country.
But it's not the case.
But there's so much happening. For example, with radio, not to
no, give us the gossip.
Not just to make myself feel a little bit better, but for one would think like a station like 5 would have more listeners than a regional station like Y. But we literally have more listeners than 5. And 5 is more national. And Y is a regional station here in Gauteng, and we literally have more listeners than them.
You see, that's crazy.
And then you look at stations that are regional, and they'll have more listenerships than stations. For example, 702 has more listeners. I think, I can be corrected, but the last time I checked, than SAFM. You know, because they probably they're more pacey, and SAFM has to, cater for the whole country. But but there's other platforms like Metro where there's been beasts for a while.
That's crazy,
throughout the entire country. But when you look at the numbers of the stations like Ukhozi FM, where they hit 8 million like it ain't shit.
We've never heard of them, which is scary.
It was quite an eye opener to us when we saw that.
It really is.
He blew our minds. We were like, holy shit, dude. Everything we knew was wrong. We were like, we thought everything was one way. You showed us a complete other way. So
but we're all catering for different markets. Like, for example, I always say you can have this podcast and you have 1,000 people checking you out. If 500 of those people came to, let's say you said you were doing the weekly order in Great Day and come through for the live taping, and 500 people came through, you have more impact than someone who will have 100,000 people and can't even pull 20 people to come through a show.
So that's a big thing lately with engagement.
You know? Engagement, who's coming, who's reacting, it plays a big role. So on my side, I'm cool with having, 1 million listeners, and I have the market that buys, the market that is responsive, a market that is about the content we share with them. And having 1 million people where you do something, not even 20 people come through, then it's just like volume that has no use.
No meaning.
No meaning,
No, that's really interesting, bro. I think we're just going to quickly, because we have to restart the camera again. We're just going to cut now. We're going to cut now, then get the drinks out, and then we're going to speak a bit more and then play the drinking game.
Awesome stuff. I'm having orange juice.
So we're back now. Obviously just set everything up again. I just wanted to get a question across that I wanted to ask in the beginning, actually. Do you think that advertisers sometimes control what's being able to be played on the radio? Do you ever feel like you're always trying to please
in the music sense?
No, because obviously that's how radio makes money. They get advertisers, right?
Yeah.
And you have to be advertiser friendly, dude. That's how it works on YouTube and everything.
Yeah.
The more advertiser friendly you are, the more sponsorships you get, the more money you make at the end of the day. Where with maybe like a podcast or whatever, you don't have to take all the advertisements to make that amount of money. They're paying salaries for how many people. They've got a big studio.
So I guess basically, how does the advertising?
Do you think it drives the content, or do you think it doesn't play such a big role?
So advertising is just as important as the music. So on commercial radio, it's advertising and then music, then you lost. It's great that you have an opinion. It's great that you have a personality. But if someone says, can we shut him up so we can tell you about Castle Light? Castle Light will come in first.
There we go.
So advertising plays a big role. Sometimes, features are sponsored by advertising, and advertisers want a certain message to be, brought forward. So then you have to change everything around the content, what you've been trying to do. And some brands, they just align properly with a certain feature that they just gain some more mileage from just attaching their names to the feature. But on commercial radio, it's all about making money. So it's brands first, it's the music, it's you, and all those three things just help the business move forward. So
it's the primary source of income, advertising then.
On commercial radio, very, very important. Like even on my podcast, like Valentine's will pay a shitload of money to have their bottle there. Because it's there, we all drinking it, it's that kind of stuff,
So be fucking grateful, Valentine's.
But then on the station, do they control what type of brands come on? Because you'll never see a Durex ad come on the radio station or something like. So do they control the type of brands?
So it's got to be regulated.
It has to be
PG sort of vibe.
There's certain hours, like now with the new laws that have come forward between 3 and 7, that's my show and drive. We now can't touch on alcohol, so we can't even mention any alcoholic brands because those are not the hours allowed. So after 7, that's when you can start talking about alcohol. That's when you're most likely going to hear about alcohol. Between 12 and 3, you can hear about alcohol. I think I can be corrected. So there's certain hours, and then there's watershed hours where you can take a risk or two. We can talk about sex between 7 and 12.
I didn't even know that,
Yeah, so there's several things that you can get away with within the right hours. You just got to be fully aware of them. So that's why there's program managers, people that guide us and hold our hands and save us.
There's a lot more to it than what you obviously hear and you think is happening. There's a lot behind the scenes and all of
that leads perfectly into my next question, is that I think a lot of people, I certainly did when I was younger, I was like, being like a radio presenter, this is amazing. You go in for 3 hours and you go home. Your day's only 3 hours long. But I think there's a lot more that goes into it. So how do you prepare for your shows? Like, what's your process? And
I think it's harder for my producer on my side.
So your producer, does he help you a lot with how to prepare?
Yeah.
Because you do obviously Monday to Friday shows on the radio,
I always say it's always great when you communicate to the producer as much as possible, when you guys have a synergy and you'll stay pitching ideas. Like, I stay pitching ideas, he stays pitching ideas, because that's what makes,
that's great radio. And I can see you guys have a great relationship. So obviously.
Yeah, it's like I was chatting with what's his name? He's on 5, Nick Hammond. I'm like, bro, the relationship you have with Money Mike, it's freaking dope. You can just tell that these guys are, they just hang out together.
Power combo,
And, we also hanging out now. But the great thing about once you have that relationship is that every time you're everywhere, you can't forget that you're on radio and everything is content. You know, this is content you're probably going to hear it sometime next week, you know, because every time people go through what you go through, and when you bring it on the radio, it's greater because it's content that you went through, so we can relate through it than just freaking finding a story on the internet saying, neighbor's dog was barking, neighbor hated it, shot the dog. Yeah. Have you ever had a naughty dog? No. But we've all been to the hood and there's a Bobby, there's a Spikes. You know, what's the craziest dog name you've heard? That will probably get more traction.
And how's your relationship? Sorry to interrupt, but will you guys tell each other when it's a shit idea or?
Oh, yes. It's important. It's important. It's important. He can be very emotional.
The producer can't see the managers over there. They keep looking in that direction.
The thing is that, like, it's you have to tell each other when shit is shit. Because we can't be nice to each other all the time. When it's work, you have to tell each other that, yo, bro, this was great, but it's not, it's, you know.
That's business.
At the end of the day,
Yeah, you know, we have to, and there's nothing personal about it. It's work. That's why it's very important. Every Friday, we link up as a team. We talk about the week that it was, what is working, what is not working, what needs to drop. Because, you know, doing a drive show is crazy because in Gauteng as a whole, it doesn't even take you half a second to find the next station if you just press your scan.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, you go like, oh, there's fresh. There's literally someone next to you that is offering something, you know. So you consistently have to be on your A game all the time, and that's one thing I've always told my team is like every link has to be doper than the previous link. The song we play after the link has to be just as hard that the person can tune in until the next link, because if they tune out after our link, it means that we are a problem, so we might as well shut up and play a song.
But now with the actual playing of songs and the songs that do come on the radio, it's whose choice is that? Because obviously, isn't it that you sort of under an obligation to play this song a certain amount of times and that song?
Yeah.
So you can't just go and be like, fuck, I dig this track, Oaks, listen to it, and then you play it.
You can. So, for example, if there's a dope song that I generally heard in the morning, I can hit up Marco, who's our music manager, like, bro, you have to hear this song. If he's feeling it, he'll probably load it up on my show. But between 5 in the morning until 7 in the afternoon, the early evening, there's a set playlist that the radio station has where these are the songs we're playing, and that's the main playlist. After 7, you're most likely going to hear specialist programming coming through, guys who will play their own songs, guys that will, you know, get their own identity or personality out, and you can hear with the music. I have what we call the Africa Boombox, where I have full editorial power, where for the past 6-7 years I've been playing songs from other parts of the continent, and that's what I've been doing for years. When I started, people call me freaking so many names, you know. It's like, oh, here's Sabby with his Gure hour, you know. And it was tough, you know. Yeah. But now we're at a point where Afrobeat is just as big as it is, and people are saying, yo, thank you for introducing me to the shit. Because when I land in Nigeria and I land in Tanzania or land in Zimbabwe, I can party in the clubs because I've heard these songs, you know. Because South Africans, we've for the longest of time, as patriotic as we are with our music, We've acted like we elite in Africa. You know, someone will be coming from another part of Africa, you're like, you from Africa? Yeah. Bro, we all from fucking Africa, man.
So I stumbled across a YouTube channel the other day. It's a bunch of British people. And what they actually do is they just react to South African music the whole time. Yeah. They react to South African songs, and they'll sometimes like go up into like the rest of Africa.
Oh, yeah, we had him on the show. Right?
Yes. Dude, that's exactly what I was watching. Ibunifu, dude. So I actually watch a lot of their things. Yeah, it's exactly the channel. They like sit behind their couch, and then when they start up, they're like, welcome back to Ibunifu Club or whatever, space. Dude. And then they like, and they literally like, it's so cool to watch them enjoy like African music, you know, because they obviously feel like there's a part of them in Africa, which there is, you know.
Overseas, and like we listen to a lot of commercial stuff that could probably fly overseas. But when you go higher up into Africa, I mean, some of that music you'll never hear fucking in England or anything like that, because it's so unique and it's so its own. So it's cool for them to even hear that, oh fuck, there is actually music even like that.
It's really cool. And what I find even more interesting when I actually watch their things is that they like the music, but they don't understand like the small little, I would say, I don't know, political or social issues that people are trying to address in like their music videos and stuff. Like where Casper in Your Vest in his one music video was obviously dressing up like a farmer and making a statement saying, you know, obviously like we are now, you know, we're doing this. They were watching it and they were like, why is he dressed as a farmer? Like, you know, like they didn't understand, you know, like, but it's interesting to see how there's different cultures and everything. And like, I just found it very interesting to see that, you know, people from England and people from America are tuning into our content and are actually now trying to see what's going on in South Africa. And I think that's the kind of vibe when you push forward the whole time, you know?
Yeah. I think as South Africans, we just like that shit when someone with a foreign accent says our shit is dope.
Maybe, you know? Bro, yeah.
We just like that. It's like when a white person speaks Zulu, you're like, oh my God. You know, I think we just need to get to a point where, you know, like, it's great that they're aware of our shit, but what's next?
Yeah.
You know, it's what I've been saying for the longest of time. Yes, people in London are fucking with your shit, but if you're not going to put on a show in London, then what's the point of it?
That's true,
You know, like, if you look at how the comedians move, when Trevor used to do shows in London and do shows in all these other parts of the world, Amsterdam and whatever, you know, he was probably performing to 15 or 20 people in the beginning.
Yeah.
And now he's performing to hundreds and thousands and filling up Madison Square Gardens. But there's several artists here who get comfortable with the gigs in South Africa where you start feeling like everyone owes you shit. So you start not playing your music. You're like, I got an issue with you and I don't. It's just that your story is not inspiring anymore. It's not moving us. There's a new generation that's coming forward. That's why when you see the young guys like the Shane Eagle that are starting to take their sound overseas, you see the young guys like Nasty. That's
what I was about to say. I see Nasty sees overseas a lot, bro. He's overseas
the artwork don't even come here anymore, you know, because they so hot, you know, in different parts of the world. But once the world gives us a form of approval, that's when your fellow people saying, oh, yes, I know you, we went to school together.
all of a sudden.
Then all of a sudden,
yeah. You know, it's like, oh, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
You didn't even say hi when we were in school. You know?
Yeah. So just before we move on to the game, I just want the game that we're going to play, obviously, I want to know what's next for DJ Sabby. What are you...
Yeah, like, just, I mean... Sorry, just before that as well, I mean, you've got quite a lot into TV and stuff. I mean, you're digging that a lot as well, and it's just sort of with your question, basically, where do you...
I think what you're trying to say is, what medium do you prefer? Radio or TV?
Shitty ass. I sort of like mumbled fucking 3 things. Sabby saved me just now. Frank just saved me now. Like, do you actually need me on this fucking show? I'll just write in my questions and you're like, we got a question from Fraser.
Maybe you could be our producer or something, bro. I don't know.
Good Lord.
But yeah, because we spoke about this before, obviously, but we're wondering, like, you that's obviously on the radio, do you prefer TV as a medium or do you prefer radio, and what do you consume more yourself, you know?
I think now YouTube has given us the platform to do both at the same time. So now,
I love YouTube.
Yeah, you know, we got these mics right before us. We literally talking shit off the top of our domes.
Yeah.
And we got a camera, which is technically TV, and people get to see us and hear at the same time. It's just the difference now is that if we say some fucked up shit and South African artists are sensitive as shit, as always, you know, you say something about them, they can cut this video, put it on Twitter, like, oh, Sabby said this about you, you know, and that is a beef. But when we see each other, he's not going to say anything. He's going to be like, hey, Sabby, what's good? I'm like, what's good? But on Twitter, it's like, yeah, that bitch ass nigga. You know,
typical like you're talking from experience there.
All of these artists, man, like they are knowing most of them.
It happens.
Yeah.
You know, it happens. But on my side, it's I love radio. Radio comes first. I'm working with the BBC now on a show called This Is Africa with Edu. So that's also something that's just huge for me. You know, like now you're touching a global audience through the most trusted news brand, you know, that's moving within music. So that's pretty something that I'm like, whoa, we here now. The same way Trevor did it with comedy, I like to do it with radio. Get a chance to do it in different parts of the world and tell the African story, play the African music, and get the world to fully understand that, yes, Africa, we do have forests, but I don't know if we can call it a jungle. You know, we do have several things that you've been told about us that is true, but there's more to us.
Way more,
than what the world has told us. And that's one thing I truly appreciated the more I do these broadcasts in different parts of the world. Like there's this moment I had on the show and I asked these kids, like, when you think of South Africa, what's the first thing that comes to mind? And then they just told me all these things. And the crazy thing is that they remember apartheid to our story more than anything else, which means the world has just been talking so much about apartheid, which is true. Yeah. But we do have some amazing stories.
Great
in this
things,
country, you know, which I wish the world would be aware of. You know, we've won World Cups.
Yeah.
We've there's so much, you know. As much as we do have a past that will make you hate, you know, white people. You know? But there are some great stories that I think the world needs to be aware of. And when you ask South Africans, when you say London, what comes top of mind? They have great things. Oh, the telephone, what?
Yeah, that's so true, bro.
You know, so we always think of everyone else as these amazing people. Like when Trevor talks about how we learned about the world, the fight between the Zulus and the English, the story they say and what we know is totally different. To them,
crazy,
the English are heroes, and we were the enemy. You know, it's like
that's weird, dude.
You see, so it's just that our worlds have always been so different. We just now need to get to a point where we can use such platforms to say, hey guys, we don't have zebras and lions in the background, and you know, we also have clubs.
Exactly.
We also have the
internet.
We have Santa, you know. We have a couple of Bentleys in this motherfucker.
Bro,
you know?
the cars in South Africa are getting out of control.
It's
dude.
insane.
I mean, the houses, like, compared to,
Mad,
like, you look
mad
at
scenes.
London, you're not going to find a fucking... Just go up the road to Eagle Canyon. You're not going to find a house like that in London.
Never.
I was just there. And if you saw what I stayed in, bro, you'd be like, what the hell is this?
It's probably more expensive than this
I'm
place.
so sorry, dude. Like, I'm sorry things aren't going well for you. But sorry, but that costs more than, you know, a place like we would live in here.
Yeah.
You know, so it's crazy.
I just think we need to teach the kids here. Like I always say, if South Africans can have the confidence of the American kids believe they're born in the greatest country in the
But they're
world.
Americans as well.
Yes. You know, you can't tell them shit. Our kids, we still got a long way to go. Like, I always tell my son, like, he might not hear what I'm saying. I'm like, you fucking amazing. When you go to school, own it, be amazing. Like, just no one can tell you ain't shit when you know that you shit, you know? So even if he becomes one of the most arrogant people who truly believes in himself, I'm fine.
At least he's going to believe in himself.
If he believes in himself and he says that he can walk on top of crocodiles and still survive,
maybe don't do that.
Maybe don't do that. But
Not
believe in
until you're
yourself.
6.
Yeah. 6.
But you just reminded me of a last question that I quickly wanted to ask before the game. So traveling.
Yeah.
I see you on your Instagram that you travel a lot, which is amazing. I see you in Bali. I see you obviously go around. Best place you've been to?
I'm a big fan. Amsterdam, guys.
Amsterdam.
You've been to Amsterdam. You haven't been to Amsterdam, man.
I've been to Amsterdam. I was very young though.
I
Yeah.
haven't been to Amsterdam.
Everything looks the same to me though when I was there.
Very similar.
Yeah.
It's crowded as fuck. But Amsterdam, guys, like, if you want weed, if you want a good vibe, if you want a good time, definitely Amsterdam. I've always had a European dream, so I'm a big fan of London.
Okay.
I've always just loved London, but part of me just feels like when I do America this year, you know, I might have
You're gonna fall in love.
dream. Might fall in love.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Just try and avoid the cops.
Dude, I heard about that. That shit is crazy, bro.
It's crazy, bro.
But it's so sad, dude. Like all the shit that happens all over the world. Sometimes you like.
Hey, everyone's got their problems, bro.
That's true. They act like their kitchen is clean.
Yeah. Okay, so let me quickly explain to the audience what's going to happen here. I've got cards written down. Okay, it's got questions that are quite risky, the answers, right? You probably won't want to answer them. So we have shots, and if you don't want to answer the question, you can elect to take the shot instead of answering the question.
Ooh.
Otherwise, if you answer the question, you don't have to take the shot. So we're just going to draw from the top.
All right.
You can start, read out the question, and then let us know if
So
you
it should
answer.
shuffle, eh?
Girlfriend's not allowed to watch this section of the show.
Okay. When you are trying to impress people, what personality traits do you try and hide from people?
That's quite deep, bro.
Yeah, bro.
That's quite a deep one. I'll answer it.
Yeah. I don't think it's too bad.
It's
though.
not too bad. Yeah, I'll answer it. Probably how weird I am.
But you weird?
Yeah. I hide it from
Are
you.
you hiding it from me?
That's a good one.
Dude, I'm just picturing him going home now.
When you go home, you just start licking spiders.
Dude.
Gets in his Batman costume or something.
You know?
Hey, bro. Put
Yeah.
the wrestling belt on.
What are you trying to say about AKA?
Okay, well, at least you didn't have to take a shot, bro. That's quite cool. Yeah. Let me pull one, yeah. Okay, what's the most embarrassing thing you've ever done?
Oh, geez. Like,
Fuck, dude, the most embarrassing thing I've ever done.
there's a lot here.
I'd rather take a shot than tell the story,
Shit.
bro. Because fuck the shit that I've done, bro.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
that proper white boy
Yeah.
you were speaking about earlier, bro. That does the stupid shit, bro.
Man, the weirdest thing I can tell you is measuring my penis. And we were just talking about it the other day.
I think we've all been there.
Huh?
Yeah.
You've measured it also?
We've all been there.
Man, we just found out the average penis is 12.9 centimeters.
Yeah, we're not going to compare because
We know where that's gonna go.
it's disappointment time.
Yo. Which South African celebrity do you think has no talent? Oh my gosh. In which aspect? Soccer players?
You can do anything.
You can choose. But
Yeah.
I think soccer player is gonna be easy answer for you. I want an artist.
An artist who I
Soccer
think.
players are going to be easy for him.
No, because I'm saying as a scapegoat. So answer the question. Or you
No, I think that was a joke because I don't know shit about sports. Yo, you say, oh man, so shit, I'm really thinking about this.
How's that whiskey looking?
Man,
We're gonna get some tea here, bro.
I'm really trying to dive in. Someone who's
Who do you think that's made it, but didn't really have the talent? They just got lucky.
That you know is not going to come on your show.
talent is relative. Talent is relative.
Hey, we're not here to get political.
I know. Hey guys, I can't think of anyone.
You
That's
took
my
the shots.
excuse. That's my excuse.
I think it was a safe answer.
I generally can't think of anyone right now.
Have you ever had a pregnancy scare? Explain.
Why can't I get such cards?
Yeah, fuck it, I'll do that one. Yes.
Yes. It's
Okay,
an
but
easy one.
explain.
Yeah, give us a
Well, I've been in a long-term relationship.
on the rate, pretty much.
It's a normal thing of life.
It's like we're pregnant this month. No, okay, thank fuck.
We gotta finish those cards. Okay, I guess I gotta.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Everyone's going to get 3 questions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh shit. I'm probably gonna figure out who's got no talent, but I'm gonna keep.
You've known it all along.
No, I'm still thinking. I generally just don't remember right now.
Yeah. I don't
swear,
know.
wow, I don't.
Who I think has no talent, bro? Can I just swing that this way?
Oh,
Sorry, I just need to top up there.
I feel
Hey,
like
Mike.
your producer knows exactly who doesn't have any.
He's got some ideas.
They're like spelling it out.
Tell everyone about your craziest ex.
ooh.
You
Why
need
can't
to
I get
name
such
her.
cards?
You need to name
name
her.
You need to name it. Okay,
Oh,
but we did
jeez.
say for this one that you can just say the first name because otherwise, if you give the surname, it's a bit hectic.
Yeah, no.
People are gonna be stalking her and be like, "Yo, this chick's crazy."
Shit.
Okay, who's your
Super
craziest ex?
definition. I know who it is. I'm just waiting to see if he says it.
No, I think as much as she doesn't deserve it, I'm probably going to have to drink. I
You still care.
I think that would touch the nerve, bro. That was a good, that one hit a nerve.
Shit.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
Let's see which one's mine, bro. What's the shittiest thing you've done to a friend? Tell the world now.
Whoa.
That's hectic, bro.
Shit. Why can't I get these cards?
Shittiest thing I've done to a friend, bro.
That's weird. You had to get the actual one that applies to your industry.
Yeah. I'd probably say, bro, I don't know.
That's not a good answer.
I'd say I didn't really feel good when I hooked up with a girl that obviously meant something to a friend of mine, bro.
No, you gotta elaborate on that. Who was it?
So, firstly, it was Tim, but we had a little swap deal. And then, yeah.
Does the girl know about this?
I don't think so,
She's
to be honest
got
with
the
you.
commodity, yeah.
You pull the Daddy K.
And then, obviously, Mike, I wasn't very aware that he really liked this girl. And then I went and hooked up with her, bro. So I felt really shitty about that, bro.
Okay.
But yeah, that was quite
But he never told you, man.
Yeah.
Never told you. Must be honest, man.
We've moved past.
Yeah, we've done. What is it? I hope it's a juicy one, bro.
Which is the worst political party in South Africa?
You're getting
I ain't gonna lie.
Dude, you're getting the nice ones, bro. We
This
didn't
one is
plan this. I
easily.
promise you, I shuffled them.
Like right now, like I'd say right now the DA, man.
They are letting everyone down.
They
bro.
fucked
I'll
up.
say the
I agree with that.
DA. Right now the DA just I don't know what the fudge is going on in that
Yeah.
political party, but it just looks like they have their own motives.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
easily they would rank as one of the worst political parties in the country.
They,
You know.
and they fucked it all, bro.
They
Straight
were
up.
doing
Yeah.
so well.
Doing so
and
well.
they just
Doing so
fucked
well.
it,
Like
bro.
they were the strongest opposition
Yeah.
in, you know,
Yeah.
and yeah. I'd
Biggest
say
fall
that.
from grace.
Hopefully they'll allow me in Cape Town.
Who was the worst guest on your show?
Ooh. You're gonna have to drink.
Are we big enough to even start throwing those things around?
No. Don't damage our reputation
fuck.
yet.
You gotta drink.
I know who it is. But
No, DJ Sabby, you've been the best, bro.
Thanks, bro.
Honest. Oh, this one's
No. Rank your immediate family from best to worst.
Shit. Thank God I didn't get that one.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so my son's first.
Shit.
Mommy Chins has to be first,
Mom?
bro.
Mom.
Yeah, your mom's dope, bro.
Mom, love you.
you hear that, Dad? You come second. He's basically saying he doesn't care if you die.
Because that's what was supposed to happen. You were supposed to come second, Mom first.
Oh shit.
That'll teach you.
That will teach you.
That was fucking golden, bro.
Dad second. Sorry, Lauren. Love you though, but you suck.
Oh, that was brilliant, bro.
brilliant.
Fuck. Okay. What is the most amount of times you have masturbated in a day? Jeez. Woo. Fuck. Okay, I don't really feel like having a shot, bro.
Like it's a lot, so
I know, bro.
If you masturbate twice in one movie, it's a problem.
Look, I don't think I've ever counted, bro, but if I had to estimate, maybe...
The fact that you can't know that you didn't count, so we're looking teens here, I think.
It's not double figures,
Like
bro.
11, bro.
That's a world record, bro. No, I'd probably say like, fuck, maybe 4.
4,
4 or 5.
Those are rookie numbers. Those are rookie numbers. You gotta pump those up.
God, did you just miss being 15? Or
Fuck, dude. I
times
need
in
up
one
my
day.
game, bro. I need up my game.
4 times in one day.
Yeah, what
are
would
you
you
saying
say?
that's high?
No, that's too much.
That's too low. When you were going through puberty and you just learned how to do that shit, it
Twice.
was addiction.
I
Right?
remember very well. The first, my trick. Try this at home, boys. Sit on your hand.
It feels like someone else is doing it.
Prakash told me this. This was still in school. Sit on your hand until it's numb, and then you start wanking. It feels like someone else.
Oh shit.
Well, they say you must use your weak hand, but I mean, I would snap my dick in half doing that.
See why I need white friends, man. Oh fuck, dude.
Shit.
Have you ever been handcuffed by who and under what circumstances? Yeah,
that's
man.
an easy
That's
one.
an easy
There we
one.
go.
Yeah.
Foslo police station.
Oh, heck.
I was heading out to my show after a gig. I was drinking and driving a long time ago. No, I wasn't even drinking. I was actually in the passenger seat drinking. And they arrested me for that.
That's bullshit, bro.
Yeah. It took me 6 years to go back to Foslo for any gig. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was it.
When?
That's quite deep, bro.
Foster us.
Oh, Foster.
That's sort of
rugby and
That reminds me of like the, I think it was A$AP Rocky in Sweden. Was it him? With all that drama?
Yeah.
DJ Sabby and Force Lawrence.
Yeah. It was so bad. I would say it all the time.
Yeah.
Even if I got a booking in Foster, I'm like, I'm not coming. That shit was traumatic.
Why
That's
would you
crazy.
get bookings in Fosterus?
Yo, man, there's a DJ. You
people-
go
yeah.
You get arrested as the passenger because you got to open.
But you
Yeah, I had an
drinking in a
open
vehicle.
Yeah, I was drinking in a
Yeah.
vehicle, and this guy. The crazy thing is,
come
he
on,
made it a
man.
movie, bro. He goes to, he's like, "Hey, what's up with my baby?" It's like, "It was. So he calls this cop. I'm like, "What? Say Uban." So he knows who I am, and this cop says Ubalo. So I say my real name, Sabelo. It's like, "Hey, what up for tech?" Uban. So he wants me to say my stage name, DJ Sabby. Hey. Yeah, which means he's always loud on the radio. Come here. They had me in my holding cell.
After all of that, you still fucking put you in
bro.
Oh, that's
I'll never
fucking
forget
crazy,
that day.
bro.
Never forget that day.
Okay, who do you think is the most unlikable out of us four sitting here?
That's a shit one to get,
Right,
bro.
these things.
That's a shit one to get, bro.
You just made me. You can say me.
Can't choose
But
yourself
it's
either.
not you, man.
Yeah, I won't lie, DJ Sabby, you've been really fucking cool, bro.
Bro.
Okay, thank you, Frank. Marcus, it's between me and you.
We've got a business relationship going here. We've got to maintain it.
Hey, look, Craig. Join the club, bro.
Look, I think to end the podcast off, we all have a shot with Fraser.
Whatever shot, man.
It's been amazing, O's.
been
Thank you
amazing.
so much,
Oh, let's
guys.
get you a
Like,
drink. I don't
subscribe,
have one.
comment, share. DJ Sabby, thank you so much, brother. There's
man,
4
thank
shots
you.
here.
Right, guys.
That was fucking brilliant, guys.
That was
Holy
amazing.
shit, bro.
Those questions were wicked.
Those questions, dude. I think we all got a real bad one, at least.
Cheers, team.
Gents,
guys.
to the
To
boys.
DJ Sabby.
To DJ Sabs.
To you
Thanks for
guys,
joining
the
us.
weekly order.
Much love.